So this is what happened yesterday, right? And I'm still reading up on this because this is another recent climate tragedy. Historic tornado outbreak leaves at least 70 dead in Kentucky. And I'm glad that progressives are starting to highlight this, but this is because of the climate crisis. Like, this is the part of the escalating extreme weather events that is the result of the climate crisis that we are in. At least 70 people may be dead after a tornado tore through western Kentucky overnight, and what is likely to be ranked as the deadliest single tornado in a single decade, in nearly a decade. So isn't it kind of crazy how we keep setting these records? So this year is the hottest summer on record. Last year was the hottest summer on record. The year before that was the hottest summer on record. And then you got people who deny the climate crisis like, oh, this is normal. Doesn't make sense. We believe our death toll from this event will exceed 50 Kentuckians and probably end up 70 to 100. So this is just the start. The climate crisis is here right now. Right now, the climate crisis is here. And this is why I am pushing back at the boutique professional left who are advocating for incrementalism. Guys, explain to me how incrementalism is going to help us in the middle of this climate crisis that we are in right now. There are scientists that are speaking that are saying that we're going to lose 30 to 35% of our biodiversity. Like, species are getting wiped out at a record rate. Meanwhile, conservatives are like, oh, this is normal. This will always happen. And the conservative argument, they say, oh, well, the climate always goes through phases. So we shouldn't destroy the climate because, I mean, we shouldn't destroy our economy just because the climate goes through phases. So they deny the human impact, which is already anti-science, which I disagree with. But I don't even have to go that route to explain to them why that's stupid. Like, I don't even have to pull the science out. Let's use your argument. Let's use the economy. You guys know that the weather, like, we already see it in our everyday lives with crops being destroyed, with the tornadoes, with the everyday extreme weather events, with the droughts that has cost our economy billions of dollars over this last year. There have been studies that shown that the climate crisis will cost us infinite more money, way more money than not doing anything right now. So the economic argument doesn't make sense. It makes more sense for us to start transitioning to an economy in a green energy system, which we can have a federal a jobs guarantee program to get people to work to actually solve the climate crisis. Completely eat the rich, right? Which I told you guys the title. You got to eat the rich. You got to defund the military if you're serious about climate change. And there's so many people who are not serious about climate change. I'm gonna find this. I didn't have to say, but I'll show you guys this. Military largest polluter. Not gonna be hard to find. I reported on this multiple times. So there are a lot of people who say they are climate activists. People like Noam Chomsky who say, oh, we got to vote for Joe Biden because of the climate crisis. But they know that Joe Biden or the Democratic Party is not going to decrease the military. So how can you say you are serious about the climate crisis if you're not going to touch the military? And that's the criticism of the Green New Deal that I learned later. I'm like, you guys are leaving too much of the U.S. imperialism out of the way. And you guys want to see the joke of the boutique left? You had TYT, you had a Majority Report, you had Emma Vidling, who was in love with Elizabeth Warren. You guys know what Elizabeth Warren's big plan to fight climate crisis was? Elizabeth Warren said, oh, we need to invest in green bombs for the military. That's serious. She was like, we just need to invest into more green technology for the military. This is the Overton window that is allowed on the progressives. Bernie Sanders, which is the best we have, but I have a lot of criticism of him. This is not one of them because he did implement a bill to defund the military by 10%. But to be fair, you see, even Bernie is only able to ask for a 10% military decrease. 10% is a joke. That's nothing compared to what we need to be. That's why the Green Party, their platform said we need to defund the military by at least 50%. Because if you're not defunding the military by at least 50%, you are being a climate change denialist. Because we know the climate crisis is caused by the military. Another thing, which is why I named the title of the video the way I did. if you don't support, and I'm going to use the scary language here. A lot of people like to tone it down. I'm going to use scary language. If you don't support eating the rich, you are not serious about the climate crisis either. I'm going to get into that very soon. So this is the military part. I'm going to hold that thought on the top 1%, right? And you guys seen this, I report on this multiple times. The U.S. military is a bigger polluter than more than 100 countries combined. So go ahead and pretend you are a climate activist while supporting the military-industrial complex. You support a party that supports the military. They increased the military budget again, guys. Again. In the middle of a pandemic. While people don't have health care. The homeless crisis is getting worse. And they increased the military budget again. That's the party that TYT and all these people are going to tell you to vote for in 2022. They're gonna tell you to do it again. And then people like me who tell you do not do it. If you're going to use electoral politics, you might as well prop up a third party. They're going to get mad at me again. Despite the fact that they are supporting a climate denialist party. Why do I use the word climate denialist? People need to start using the right terms to get people to become anti-establishment. So if you do not believe in the scientific recommendations on what we need to fight climate change, you are denying the climate crisis and the extremism and the scale in which we got to fight. So you guys know that if you ask a lot of Republicans know that climate crisis, they will acknowledge that climate crisis is happening. Like a lot of conservatives do now. The question is, what do you support after that? Will you acknowledge the climate crisis, but then continue trickle down heavy industry economics? If you are, you might as well be a climate denialist. That's the theory behind it. But that's the Democratic Party. They say good stuff. They make promises they don't keep. They continue to frack. The fact that he's a fracker, Joe Biden's a fracker alone, makes him a climate change denialist. And one thing that people have to do, which I do, which is why it's important to have black leftists in these spaces. If you are not talking about the climate crisis in terms of a race issue, and if you are a climate change denialist like the Democrats are, you are weak on the issue of race. Environmental racism is real. That is the poisoning of our water because of the climate crisis, and that's the military. So if you support the giant military budgets, if you support that, you are anti-black. You apparently support poisoning indigenous Hawaiians. That's what they just did. Check this out. You guys think I'm being too extreme? You guys think I'm being too dramatic? Check this out, and I'll get to some comments. U.S. military is poisoning communities across the U.S. with toxic chemicals. Guys, this article came out this year. This year. How many people mentioned this? I covered it multiple times. I watch independent media. I watch a lot of it. Not many people were covering this story. And guess what? Guess what community? Damn it. They blocked me out. Fuck. Oh, wait, hold on. There. Nice. Let me see. Guess who is affected the most by this? So one of the most enduring, let me zoom this in so you guys can see it. One of the most enduring, indestructible toxic chemicals known to man. Let's just call it AFFF, which is a PFAS, forever chemical. Forever chemical. So they're gonna explain what that means. I'm not a scientist. They're gonna explain what that means here very soon. It's being secretly incinerated next to disenfranchised communities in the United States. Meanwhile, you have people that laugh at the idea of environmental racism. That is what it is. So the military has been poisoning disenfranchised community, and then when you dive into the area, it was largely black areas. So we need to stop sugarcoating this shit. So instead of this headline, you could easily say the U.S. military is poisoning the black community. That's the headline. The U.S. military is poisoning communities across the U.S. with toxic chemicals. Yeah, that's okay. But I prefer get straight to the heart of matters so people understand that this is a race issue as well. And you can also argue it's a class issue because I'm sure that they poison they poison in poor areas. Like the rednecks that support the giant military budget, they get poisoned too, guys. So the Department of Defense ordered the burning of 20 million pounds of AFFF. I'm gonna try and get to the scientific explanation of what forever chemical is. So I think this is it. AFF was invented and popularized by U.S. Armed Forces, introduced during the Vietnam War to combat petroleum fires on naval ships. Skimming a little bit. Once manufactured, this carbon fluoride bond is virtually indestructible. Science give me a headache, guys. Sorry. But so this is virtually indestructible. This chemical. So even when they burn it, as they explain here, see, once again, this science stuff is giving me a headache. But this bond overpowers and tames even the most incendiary inferno. So they're saying that you can't even effectively burn it, which the military did. You see, they ordered the burning of it. So if you burn it, you are literally just poisoning the air. You're poisoning the water. That is what the morons in the military did. So as we know now, exposure to the trace amounts. So the trace amounts are strongly linked to a host of cancers, developmental disorders, immune dysfunctions, and infertility. Do you guys see now why I'm being so hyperbolic? This is what the government, this is what the U.S. military is doing to us. Once again, I like to frame it as a race issue because I think race is class, and this helped me wake up my black brothers and sisters. So I know people are like, oh, Nick, why you always use the race card? Bro, when I talk to black people, I need to get them to acknowledge that this is a problem that's going on in our community right now. And then also, for the liberals who think they're anti-racist, if you cannot say you're anti-racist if you support giant military budgets. That's what I say. So that's why I use race, by the way, because I think it's important in order to help radicalize people and get people to understand that the system is against you. Because we explain on International Leftist Coalition, racist class, but that's a longer conversation.